Welcome to part 2. Here we're starting off at the beginning of chapter 2, Dust to Dust. Now there's a couple tips for this chapter. The first one is pretty much at this beginning right here. There's going to be two guards talking with each other, and I'm going to be waiting until they stop in order to continue. So while I'm waiting, I'm going to be picking this lock and picking up the loot. Picking up the two loot right here. The first one being that coin purse, and then the second one being the arrow inside this box. So for this part right here, I'm going to be watching the guard. You can see right in the middle of the screen. Once he starts moving, like right now, I use that as a signal that it's safe for me to continue and lockpick this door. Now you want to be, I guess, kind of quick about this. There is a window where the other guard will be patrolling back, and he'll pass by the locked door, and if he spots it open, he'll be alerted. So once you jump over the wall, I think you're pretty much safe. I didn't have any issue with that guard after I jumped over that fence and into this area. So I picked up that poppy to sell later. Like I said in the first part, the thing I want to do is have 1,000 gold by the end of this chapter, or close to 1,000, about 950, in order to afford a wrench for chapter 3. So the next part of this chapter is going into the vents and inside the building. There's a once you come out of the vent, there's a single guard, and for speedrun purposes, if you have to be quick about jumping down, if you jump down right when you get there, you'll be able to get past the guard safely. Otherwise, which will happen in about a couple seconds, right now he'll stumble backwards, and if you drop down while he stumbled backwards, you'll get spotted because you'll land on top of him. Now another reason why you want to quickly get down is because you want to get past this part right here. There is a crossbow guard, which you see right now, and if you're too slow about dropping down from the vents, he'll be already patrolling into the area, so you have to wait. So to summarize, you want to drop down from the vent as fast as you can, and then just hop by the area that I showed you, and you'll be able to pass by that crossbow guard safely before he starts his patrol. And another thing about going past that crossbow guard, when you're swooping past him, you want to reach that far wall. You want to be touching that far wall, because if you cut the corner, he'll spot you most of the time, I think, because there's a couple of times where I try to cut the corner to save, you know, those fractions of a second, and pretty much every time I'll be spotted by him. So for this part right here, there's that guard that you see on this second floor right there. You don't want to sprint in this area because you'll catch his attention. So that's why I just swoop. In this room, there's glass on the floor. I haven't really seen any guards react to me swooping past it, so that's why I do it. And it's important right here to pick up those 4 blunt arrows, because those 4 blunt arrows will I'll be pretty much using them for the rest of the game. So another tip right here is to just hug the corner and then jump past that past those 2 guards talking, or 1 guard and some other guy talking. Now for this part, there's 3 methods of continuing into the building. I'll show you the method I use right now is actually to skip the door, but if you want to go through the door, you have 2 ways of doing it. One is to pickpocket one of those guys that I was talking earlier, and the other one is to open a chest in the second room, which will be coming up right now. You'll see that there's the guard sleeping in a chair right in front of us, and nearby him is a chest that contains a key for the door that you see right there also. But the method I use as you can see, is just to skip the door and just jump onto the hook earlier. Now the only con about this is that you're pretty much be skipping the loot in this room right here, which there's 2 chests. One chest containing a couple arrows, and the other chest containing some silverware, which you can pick up for gold. Just to show you, I decided to go with this method because I'm guessing most people won't know about this one and assume that they have to get the key to skip it. So this video will show you that there is another method of doing it. So coming up is the last part of inside the building. Now the one tip I can give about this is that you don't want to be sprinting in this area, you just want to be swooping. The last few times I sprinted, it caught the attention of the guards, and I think the last time I did it, the guards actually bugged out. I'm not sure if they're supposed to, but they were on alert and they never went back to normal. So another tip right here is you have to wait for the furnace to close so that you get the shadows. But if you're quick enough, like what I do right now, you only have to wait for it to close once and you can just bypass the guards. If you want to be safe about it, you can wait till it closes twice to get past it, but since this is a semi-speedrun, I went the quicker route. So for here, I picked up the 2 items on the table to sell later to get that 1,000 gold, and I also pick up the gold inside this, I guess, safe in order to get that 1,000 gold also. So once you pick up the unique loot right here, this ring, it'll trigger a cutscene, and then it'll transition to the last part of this chapter, which you have to escape from this facility. So for the next, the escape part of this chapter, there's I guess a few, 1 or 2 tips, quick tips. Once I get out of this door, there'll be 2 guards talking. You can safely swoop past them, like you'll see me do right now. And once you swoop past them, there's another 2 guards in the next area. Right, like once you swoop this area, there's a guard right here next to the right of me, which you'll see the indicator saying he slightly spotted me. If you want to be safe about it, you can just wait till he starts his patrol right here and just follow behind him. And I think swooping past him before he starts his patrol saves a little bit of time. So for this area, it's safe to sprint. I grabbed the poppy for selling purposes, and then we're off to pretty much the last area before the chapter ends.
Sounds like the general's men.
So for the next area, there's 2 ways of going once you jump this window. One is to the left, one is to the right. I choose the one to the right where you fall down the roof, just because I think it's quicker. I tried some ways of going left, but they weren't as speedy. For here, I grabbed this arrow just to be safe, and here I almost have a heart attack by accidentally climbing that crate. So another tip is you want to be careful about when you decide to swoop, because if you're next to that a box like that, you might actually accidentally climb it or get stuck peeking. So at the end of this chapter, you can see that I have 947 gold. So I'm 53 gold short, but I will have enough from all the extra arrows and food and poppies to sell to be able to afford a wrench. So for the next part of this video, we'll be heading to Aaron's hideout, which is a brief, since it's not part of a chapter, I guess it's a brief like intermission between chapter 2 and chapter 3.
I should have learned to read.
Here's the path I take in order to reach there. The reason I take this path is to skip the guarding or the guards patrolling around the area.
Not enough for my liking.
So
House of Blossoms.
after doing that
went
cutscene,
there, but I
the
know
next
someone
part
who
is
did.
going to Aaron's hideout. For the part we're going, or to the area we're going to after going past these boxes, is an area I don't really like because there's a lot, 4 or 5 guards, and pretty much I think the best method is the one I use, which is to distract that guard you saw right now. In order to do that, I grab this wine bottle and then I'm going to be throwing it past him, and I want to make sure that it's only him that sees it, so that way he turns away and I can safely swoop past these other 3-4 guards. So this area we go into the south
There's an
quarter,
old mill in Riverside that Aaron used to call
which
home.
is unlocked
I
by
should go take a look inside.
the end of chapter 2. For here, I actually don't recommend what I just did, was to sprint past those 2 guards. If you're going to be sprinting, you should be sprinting earlier and not at that second alleyway which I showed. Now for this part, if you're actually fast enough, you can get through the window quicker, but I think I was a little slow, so I decided to wait until that guard went past. So once we enter this area, this is where Aaron's hideout is. You have to be quick about jumping this roof right here, or you'll be spotted by a guard that's patrolling into the area. So for here, you can just go straight towards the marker. I took a little detour just to check that if there was a guard patrolling, because I wasn't sure. So Aaron's Mill there's no guards or anything you have to worry about. The only thing you do have to worry about is that there's a couple of traps, but if you follow the way I go through, you'll just bypass them all. I don't bother turning them off because it's just quicker just to skip them. Like there's some plates on the ground there, so that's why I jumped the box. And to bypass the traps in this area, you just have to climb this ledge right here. Now pressing this button will open the floorboard and you'll fall into her room. And then here there will be this Aaron cutscene. So there's a quick time saver here. Once the cutscene starts, you can sprint to where she is on the second part, which you can see right here, that blue glowing or above us. By sprinting here, you'll cut some dialogue, which if you listen closer, you'll hear that there's some audio overlapping between Garrett and Aaron talking. So that'll save I guess a good chunk, because Aaron talks a lot, especially in these Aaron cutscenes. So for this part, I don't think I haven't been able to find a time saver, so this is just basically waiting for Aaron to finish talking so we can continue on with the game.
What do you want from me?
I want you to steal a key to the
So,
truth. It's from before I left
the next
home,
part after this,
before I became
after we
Aaron.
finish Aaron's hideout,
You have to find it
we'll
yourself.
be going to chapter
Those
3.
are the rules.
For this video, I actually had to make a small edit, just because I forgot to buy the wrench. I'll let you know once we get to that area where the edit takes place.
A little.
But
No!
what you're supposed to do, what you'll see, is to go to the Siren's Rest and buy a wrench there.
It's almost as if Aaron wanted me to find.
So here, once you pick up the medallion from Aaron's little hiding spot, that's pretty much done for this area. And you won't have to come back to her hideout for the rest of the game. So once we leave this area, we'll be in South Quarter again, and coming up pretty soon is why I had to make the edit.
Onto the House of Blossoms.
Once I jump up to the
Red
roof,
lights, so
in my actual run, I actually run past a little bit and then I remembered. So you see the edit right here that I just quickly restarted the checkpoint so that I can go and get the wrench. So like I said before, I go to the Siren's Rest because it's nearby to get the wrench from the NPC here. Now the reason I need a wrench for chapter 3 is because I only need to use it once, but it's a pretty good time saver. If you don't use a wrench, you have to bypass 2 guards, and I haven't really spent too much time figuring out how to get past those 2 guards quickly, just because I like the wrench method better, and you don't have to worry about them at all. So now that I have the wrench, I'm going to be heading straight to the chapter 3 location at the House of Blossoms. The one thing you have to worry about is the guards patrolling the area. You saw me swoop past 1 guard, which you can do if you're quick enough. The other guard is near here, right near the entrance of the House of Blossoms. You can see there's a staircase right here, which I jumped down to. Sometimes there's a guard patrolling there, so you want to double check and make sure that he's not right below you before you jump down. So now we're going to start chapter 3. So that's the end of part 2, and I'll see you in part 3.